Heading on into the game now. It'll be interesting to see sort of where these junglers start and where they prioritize, because I feel like top is an extremely volatile lane, but the nature of Xayah Rakan is also quite volatile. Obviously, they can even start W and just go straight on into you level 1. So I feel like the jungle starting point will tell a lot about where these teams are focusing their priorities early game.
I think it will as well. Here we have it, J-Team versus S9 for our third game of the day. This match, pretty important for both teams, right? J-Team want to keep those playoff hopes and dreams alive, and S9, they'd like to do some damage before they get eliminated. And it looks like it will be the on-hit. Varus has the Ghost and Lethal Tempo, and I'm going to keep my eye on him because I'm not sure he's actually going to get to auto-attack against this comp.
Yeah, no, there's not even that much sort of peel for him, right? And we do also see Dark Harvest on Gregus. So I wonder if that changes his itemization to be a bit more bursty and sort of get a lot done. It is a squishy team for S9, so maybe Gregus can get a lot done with his combos. He does have a lot of damage.
It looks like the overheals, they come in once again. Interestingly, YJY has not gone for the overheal. I think Xayah is perhaps a bit more mana hungry, so it's a bit more difficult, but... And also maybe thinking that, okay, there's little chance that Varus actually goes for the poke build, so can kind of get away with something else.
Yeah, and traditionally too, Xayah, especially with these new AD carry item chains, she really wants to get that Navori as soon as possible, so maybe won't find as much value out of the overheal as you otherwise would as well.
They're getting aggressive.
Going in, there's the W I spoke of, and we are seeing Enzo come really low. Ignite's used.
They trade pretty good damage back, though.
Yeah, Ghost down from Bruce and both Suns down from Enzo in exchange for just the cleanse and the Ignite. So damage in favor of JT, but Suns in favor of S9.
Yeah, I feel like in the short term, this is definitely better for J-Team, right? You have a lot of control over this lane. There's actually pings in the bot river, so we might see both junglers enter and try and play around this bot lane before swapping to top. Actually, looks like Fia will just continue to cross. Okay, so now... Eyes on Lava, will he enter this bot river? He's already done 2 of his top camps as Blue and the Wolves, so he can stay on bot side and pressure for a very long time here. Yeah,
and pathing like this really makes you expect sort of an early gank, right? Like you've left your Gromp up there, so you're not going to full clear in any way. But it seems like he is just going to keep clearing his jungle, maybe wanting to show some pressure around mid in case of Fly coming in there, but... Nothing at the moment as Fly clears his Krugs up top side.
This big wave crashes and there's no jungle attention on it. So I think if there was a window for J-Team to do something, it's probably gone now. Instead, I think you probably just see Lava trying to establish some vision for them. Both junglers on the opposite sides of the map, like we could definitely see something come around this top lane. Relia, you're very heavy trading.
Yeah, huge trade onto Relia there, and Relia doesn't have the flash this game, does have the Ghost, so has to be really careful of Jax trying any sort of flash counter-strikes or anything like that. Obviously will have the riposte, but not easiest thing to time that correctly.
Now, okay, ooh, almost connects.
Ooh, gets stunned. Bruce doesn't land the root, so it looks like he will just walk away, but massive trade there by YJY. And you have to feel like if that feather was just slightly more on him, that probably would have ended up being a kill.
It's very, very close. Lava, I think he is just going to help shove in the wave, try and reset what is looking like a pretty bad wave state for the J-Team. They are going to back off. But I think S9, they've kind of brought it back, right? They had the longsword 3 potions, so despite losing a lot of health early, are starting to kind of sustain back up.
Yeah, and does have the 2 cookies now too, if they needed the mana sort of to help push it in, as we see YJY very low on the mana at the moment. But back up to these top lane, nothing really happening at the moment, but the lane is pushing back to long. We'll see where Gragas heads. It could be an opportunity for him.
And another thing I kind of want to bring up is actually the mid matchup, right? Because I think a big reason Vex isn't played is because her lane phase is too weak. Up against most mages, she just gets bullied out. She never really finds the opportunity to get into the game. But I think Tristana has a pretty hard time actually jumping on the Vex. Obviously, can just hold the W, which makes it difficult to actually win the trade. And then it's sort of scaling up. By both them scaling for free, I think it's actually pretty good for Vex.
Yeah, and it was used as a counter pick, so you really have to hope you do get some value out of that, right? Otherwise, you don't have a real point to use it as a counter pick. But at the moment, it seems to be doing all right, and I do like the Vex follow-up on top of a sort of Viol. Really sets you up to get one of those massive engages on. As we see just some vision cleared here by both Fly and Rakan.
It looks like Fear will come and start up this Dragon. They have the pink one on it. They have a lot of bot pro as well. The mid pro is pretty even, or perhaps going the way of Minji, but I think with this bot pro, probably will get it before J-Team can get here in time, although they're looking for it.
Yeah, coming from different, a bit of a pincer here. Both bot laners coming from the bot. You do have to be worried about Vi sort of turning and just going onto this bot lane. Dragon is claimed. They have gone onto Enzo, exhausted up. This time Kyrus has gone and landed a nice knock up on Enzo. Fear 1 HP flashes over. Minji didn't get a reset there, importantly, I don't believe. Oh, he did, sorry. And no mana on Calumnia. Massive flash knock up by Lava, and that's just, I'd have to say, a one trade for JT. They do lose the Dragon, but pick up 2 kills.
I think Calumnia probably needed to reset if they were going to go for something like that, because honestly could have had a ton of impact in that fight, but just without any mana, couldn't really do anything. Like you said, I think it's better for J-Team now find themselves with a good gold lead. But let's look at the replay. So I think initially, actually starts off pretty well, right? Like I think Fear, he finds the engage on the Enso. There's a lot of follow-up from the rest of the team. And Fear actually lives a long time. But I think Calumnia quickly runs out of impact, right? After this, is pretty much reduced to just auto attacks. Can't follow Bruce over the wall. You know, can't cast anything to really deal any damage to Minji, who almost looked like he was inting at the end, right? But there's just no damage left. So yeah, not having the mana on their Vex, it was tough. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And it looked like there could have even been an opportunity. Maybe they missed out on the Enso kill there, but I feel like Kyrus could have landed a 2-man knock-up on the Tristana Gragas there, which might have changed the trajectory of that fight. But too little too late now as we go back to the mid lane and they're just clearing out waves.
And top lane does kind of just remain pretty much completely even, although Long finds himself with a nice little freeze here. I have to see if teams play for this Herald. I think they probably will. There's a lot of very strong team fighting ultimates here, so I think teams, both of them actually probably will just want a team fight as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, and again, we have the Herald sort of Tristana combination, right, where you can really snowball a tower quite quickly if you do pick that up. But we do have Fly here sort of positioning around that area, setting up some vision, as well as Calumnia walking up into the topside river.
Ooh, I think Fear manages to pick up the scuttle. Can he push Lava out of the jungle? Doesn't look like he'll be able to. May instead perhaps look to just go top. Actually, trade comes out bot.
Yeah, massive trade. Enso very low, but nothing seems to be coming of it. A nice arrow, piercing arrow back to get YJY a bit lower, sort of even out that trade.
Now, Fear, he's around mid, he's sweeping the vision. It's making it difficult for Minji to continue to push. And Calumnia, you know, in the 1v1 is actually going to find himself with a CS lead here. Definitely nice for him.
Yeah, as we go back to bot lane, flash engage, massive knock-up, huge shutdown onto YJY. That's exactly what you want your Xayah to be getting. Massive setup by Kyrus.
Yeah, just a straight 2v2. And honestly, Bruce, I feel like perhaps had no business being that far up and contesting the wave, right? I think the priority doesn't really matter a whole lot because your support can leave to this Herald, you know, if they want to, and you should be fine. But yeah, tried to agree for the priority without any sums and was summarily punished for it.
Yeah, as you said, we just saw Ghost come up right now and Exhaust come up right now. Maybe if they had to play a little bit safer for just that little bit more, he might have been able to survive. But ultimately, maybe it's just better to recall. But now, too little too late. YJY's picked up a shutdown. That's going to be massive for the team of S9.
And somehow, Long solo killed Relia during that. Would love to see a replay because this was the Fiora picked into the Jack. So what happened? The riposte comes out very early. Looks like he tried to commit. The flash comes out, and yeah, just kind of got obliterated. I think, like you said, without having flash to match, just gets destroyed. And I think that's it's a very big loss for S9, right? It's a matchup that you willingly counterpicked into. You've gotten solo killed, and I think that loss of top priority does also mean the Herald going over to the side of the Tristana. So I feel like, you know, big mistake from Rel here.
Yeah, and you have to feel like that might have major implications for the rest of this game, right? Because for the majority of the time, you expect Jax and Fiora just to sit in the side lanes with each other and kind of just, you know, try and get towers and trade and whatnot. But with getting ahead as the Jax, it's quite hard to play as the Fiora from then. You might not necessarily die, but you are going to be relinquishing a lot of pressure the whole game.
It is difficult, right? I feel like when you're playing, especially a champ like Fiora that doesn't even team fight as well as the Jax, your win condition really does come from the split push, right? Once you start to fall behind and there, you can quickly kind of feel like you don't have options. Looks like more heavy trades coming out. Ralia, though, wisely disengages. He's learned his lesson from the previous time. And Dragon will be spawning here in another 20 seconds. Gold remains fairly even. Mythic, though, is completed for YJ1 and the Xayah. Now has the Gale Force.
Yeah, and I feel like this will just be a 4v4 for the Dragon, right? And a lot of that gold lead will be sitting on the Jax up top. So maybe even a little bit of a lead for S9 when it comes into the 4v4. So we'll have to see what happens, but I do favour S9 for this Dragon pickup.
It looks like JT might just choose to trade instead. They're committing Minji up towards top. Perhaps want to dive Rally again. He doesn't have flash.
Yeah, you gain a lot of tankiness off the Jax ult if you're even under tower. We have gone in. Ralia has used Ghost, quite hard to hit, but with Lava coming in, actually Calumnia comes in and lands a massive 3-man fair, makes it a 1-for-1 trade up top, which you have to like.
I think overall it's pretty good for S9 just in terms of gold. But I feel like Relia dying again, it makes the split push even worse, right? Like now we've got Long completed with his Divine Sundra, and it's really going to be up to Calumnia to, I feel like, to make this worth, right? Because you've got the kill, you're going to have to carry because I think Relia is pretty much out of the game.
Yeah, I do agree with that. They did manage to get the Dragon at the same time, but let's have a look at this replay.
I think it was really weirdly executed. I don't know why Minji is jumping forward at all. I think it's probably the way you want to play this is starting with Tristana ult, but they heavily mis-execute it, and then Calumnia just comes in, manages to clean one up, and also catches the wave, which again, it's a pretty good trade, and somehow Fear died and flashed. Looks like Bruce used both as sums, so I guess it was some sort of failed engage I'm sure we'll see a replay of, which I think is big, right? Bruce picking up another kill definitely feels good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think an important thing to note here is that Vex is the sole AP on his team. So the stronger he gets, it's very hard to itemize any MR against this Vex, just due to like the damage coming out of Fiora eventually and the Xayah. It does make it harder, and it does give Calumnia an even better chance to possibly carry this game, as we do see Relia getting dove, flashed on by the Gragas, and just killed. And the Rift Herald will take the tower here.
Things are quickly going from bad to worse in the top lane. Relia is falling massively behind, doesn't even have the TP, so this potentially could be 2 towers going over top. And Long, you know, we were saying a lot of the time it just feels no different from having Relia in the top lane, but definitely making his presence known here, right? Is finding a massive lead. Initially found that solo kill, and from then on, you know, called up his teammates to kind of pressure even more.
Yeah, and I think they've done a real good job sort of prioritizing around there. That you have a very sort of strong 4v4 on the bot side. I'd say at this stage of the game it is stronger than J teams, but with sort of Long getting that solo kill, you've now found yourself a win con, right? And so correctly J team have identified that and put a lot of focus up there, just slingshotting sort of Long way too far ahead. At this stage I don't even think sort of Rally can be in the same lane as him.
Pretty much, especially with that top tower tier 2 being so low already. I have to feel like it's going to fall at some point. I'd be really interested to see the top lane gold difference at the moment, because I think it must be pretty absurd.
Yeah, I would agree, although a lot of sort of the kill gold has been going on to Long's teammates, especially for Lava. But yeah, it would be nice to see the gold.
2 minutes on this next drag, and I think J-Team are going to be forced to contest it. S9, they've got those 2 early drags, and they probably want to keep stacking it up, but at the same time, Fear, still no Mythic, Rallia, also no Divine Sundra. Trade will come out top.
Yeah, good job getting away from that. I feel like getting stunned there is almost certain death. So it was a good job getting away from that, and yeah, as you say, Fear really stunted on this. Well, we see it come through now, the Radiant Virtue, so that's good. And we'll provide some health and whatnot for the likes of YJY, who I'm sort of looking to be the carry of this team, along with Calumnia, and especially around the Dragon Pit. So we'll see if that plays a part, although it is really a support sort of jungle itemization versus a carry jungle itemization. So we'll see how that plays out as well.
Benji has a lot of priority on this bot wave, but can he walk into the river? Looks a little scary, especially with Lava on that top side of the map. So he's just going to commit the recall. And I think, yeah, it's a pretty important fight for both teams. Rallia actually picks up the Divine Sunrise, so not going to be as strong as Long in this fight, but actually still can have quite a lot of impact. And I think you're right. Eyes on Calumnia and YJY, who are really the, I want to say, other than Relia, maybe the only members of S9 that have really brought them to victories, right? Like, it definitely feels like if the couple games they've won, it's mainly been off their backs. And once again, if they want to have a win against J-Team, you know, it's really up to them.
Yeah, and I do like that for S9 coming up to this Dragon fight, we don't have a Mythic yet on Minji. So quite a lot weaker than potentially could have been, even if he had picked up one of those kills. But we see it engage here on the top side onto Luava. Stopwatch is used, Kyrgios gets away. Now that is just Vile and Rakan ult down for just a stopwatch.
The Vex ult was used as well. Quite a lot committed there. I think the Vex ult just didn't quite get in range. J-Team, they're starting up the Herald, which I feel like is a mistake. Do you really want to give up so much pressure over this third Dragon? Perhaps feel like they can still contest it, I'm guessing. So they're playing very greedy if they want to get both. I think that is what they're going to play for, but S9, they're getting a lot of damage on the Dragon already. And J-Team, they're a bit late.
Kyrgios is very far up here. You have to be worried for him a little bit. Nice fear. We do see it taken, although this does look like a bit of a hard fight. Featherstorm used. Long is now on YJY. Flashes away. We see Kyrgios getting blown up in the middle of 5. Calumnia manages to pick out Minji before going down as well. Rally is ghosting away. Flashed on by Long. Riposte used. Manages to get out because of the Divine Sunder heal. Oh, Gragas explosive cast finishes it off. Fia now not long for this world as well. Oh, I speak too soon. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of low health bars. And Long just kind of died to the tower for, I have to say, no reason.
What a crazy fight. I mean, Bruce looks like he's going to trade back this mid tower, but I think it was very greedy from J-Team to start up that Herald there and then think that they could also get to the Dragon. I feel like they kind of had to because it's the third one, but I feel like the Herald is super weird. Like, second Herald at this point in the game doesn't mean a whole lot, but let's look at the replay. So J-Team, they get to this a little late. Keras also has a pretty nice flank. There's a lot committed early, but YJY, you know, just can pop the Featherstorm, disengage. Minji, I think, kind of has trouble getting damage done. Calumnia manages to snipe him out on the backside. And then what happened in the end here? It was looking really good for the side of J-Team. I mean, Lava was really putting in a lot of work, just quick scopes him off the back end. And then this dive on the Fear, I mean, it feels very forced, especially
well
with
done
YJY
for him to survive, but
yeah, wow.
Yeah,
just to get them both.
That just went terribly, really, didn't it? And I do have to wonder, because you know that S9 are going to that Dragon. That is their only real, like, sort of play for this game. I have to wonder if maybe they could have done the Rift Herald, gone top, and even looked for a huge push and, you know, get some real pressure and maybe look for an early Baron.
I think, yeah, there's no real chance for taking an in him. I mean, I guess you could take it, but at the same time, I'm just not really sure why they would do it. You know, like, I guess if you're going to do it, you should just hard commit to whatever play you're making. So it was so weird to take the Herald and then just kind of, you know, flip-flop back and be like, okay, maybe we can get everything here. Have to see. Lava, he's going to face check, finds him. I want to see where this Herald goes, though, right? Because we essentially gave up the Dragon to secure this Herald. So we need to get a lot off of it.
Yeah, as we do see Minji sort of split pushing up in the top lane. Big engage. The Chain of Corruption lands onto YJY. Does use the Featherstorm to get out, but Luava positioning very aggressively. Vi goes unstoppable, hits Luava, and that's just a free kill by the looks of the thing. Although Long is looking, Fia has been stunned up and will go down. YJY doing quite a lot of damage here on the backside. Minji comes in, picks up a free kill there onto Kyrgios, jumps back in. Calumnia is not long for this world. Does go down to Bruce. And there you have it. That was just a 1-for-2 trade.
Big win there for the side of J-Team. And I'm really interested that Relia was in that fight, right? It feels like you really need to be using this time that Long has grouped to try and scale yourself in the side lane, because you're just not going to have any impact in that fight. And I'd really like to see, because it feels like Relia is kind of just wasting his time by grouping. And if you're going to do so, might as well be a different champion. But let's see how it starts. So I think a lot of damage from Lava onto YJY, which is honestly really nice, right? Like, he is the main carry of this team. Even just making the team fight more difficult for him by chunking him out, getting rid of the Featherstorm, it makes it a lot harder for them to win. And then there's a nice engage onto Lava, who does go down. But once again, this means that there's no threat now onto Enzo, onto Bruce. Long, he can just follow up. YJY, he doesn't have the easiest time DPSing in this fight. He kind of just has to walk away because he doesn't have any tools to continue to play aggressive. And J-Team ultimately just end up cleaning them up.
Yeah, Zaya is one of the safest AD carries there is, but as soon as you lose that Featherstorm, a lot of your safety is removed. And you don't really have any like dashes from there. I guess you do have the Gale Force, but again, I'm not even sure if that was off cooldown or not. And we do see the Rift Herald get used bottom, so that is where they chose to use it. I don't know if it'll be worth it. There is a dragon coming up in 50 seconds. S9 would really like that, although considering they've got 3, they are able to give one up because all they need to do is get one of the next 4. So maybe they'll opt in for time, but we have hit the 2-item power spike for the Zaya, looking for the 3rd item rapid fire cannon, which you have to think really sets up YJY to be the main character of this game.
Yeah, eyes definitely on YJY. I think S9 probably will contest this, or perhaps want to trade something significant for it, like looking at the Baron or looking at 2 towers top. Like you said, there is kind of the luxury of you can get any of the next 4 dragons, so make of that what you will. Looks like they are committing to the trade, so now the race is on. How much can you get on this top side? I feel like Baron might still be off the table, but hopefully they can at least take something top.
Yeah, just clearing up the vision for that Baron, opting to give the dragon away, which I think's smart. I think you just wait for this Zaya to get a few more items. Like, you're so close to that rapid fire cannon, maybe you do it if you have it. But I think it's just better to look here, give Relia some support, maybe get him back into the game. And in the meantime, I mean, you're very happy as Zaya just clearing waves mid. You're one of the best champs at doing it.
She certainly is. And it looks like Shojin has actually been completed here for long, which is sort of interesting. I think we've seen a couple of Shojin Jaxes, but a lot of the time it feels like they do just go more towards the tanky build, but wants obviously to be very strong in this side lane.
Yeah, maybe opting more for a 1v1 orientated build than that sort of grouping up and team fighting.
Yeah, I like it. And I think with another 4 minutes on the drag, S9 have a lot of breathing room here, right? At the same time, actually looking for an engage. Oh,
nice buster shot there to sort of disallow it. Although we do see the flash engage by Rakan, and that's just a quick kill. Minji's just gone down.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. It is a little unfortunate that Vex ult was committed. It would have been really nice to keep that one. At the same time, actually still
got
has
the
it.
reset.
Not
going to see it reactivated, I don't expect. Yeah, we do see it timeout. Explosive cast used. Calumny has lost half his health bar, but it's just a mid tower and a free kill.
On the other side, though, Long, he finally managed to take down that top tower that had been so low for so long. And I wonder, is this base perhaps greedy? Might actually end up walking in. Yeah, okay, he's going to be found early.
Yeah, opted to come out and sort of strike Relia. I have to be a bit curious about that, as he is getting engaged on here. We do see Enso up the bottom coming in, but ult is popped and he becomes a lot tankier once that ult is popped. Teleport comes in from Minji, but nothing becoming of it.
Okay, J-Team, they have a lot of control. Can they actually start at the Baron? I don't think so, but can still... Okay, they actually are going to start it up.
And you do have a lot more damage on it, considering you have 280 carries. On hit, Varus very good at taking the Baron.
It's spotted out.
It is spotted. Will we see Fear go in for this? I have to feel like we will. Stunned up. Baron at 2,000 health. Can't even get in. It's just going to be Baron down. Jax in the middle. Flashes away. Engaged on by Vi. And looks like everyone's out of here. Minji positioning forward. Does have to be careful. Greg is flash engaged. Massive 4-man cast. Although we do see it traded off. YJY claiming Enso and Long.
Still got a poke.
Yeah, Gregor's Q's hitting really huge. Calumny are in 2-man fear. One onto Minji. Minji will go down. Huge root onto Lava, and Relia is getting it.
Bruce, though.
Yeah, Bruce going in. Bruce going crazy in the middle there. Looks like a quadra kill.
Oh my god. I think at the very back end, Bruce, I mean, he must have been feeling it. 4 people on very low health bars, and all the cooldowns used, and just managed just to absolutely space glide on them. I mean, we were saying that it was going to be very difficult for Bruce to actually hit in this game, but just so much is being forced onto, like, to be used onto Long, the Bruce basically gets to do whatever he wants. We take a look at the replay. I think really nice CC chain from J-Team with the Chains of Corruption and the anti-stun to just make sure this Baron is secured, and then just pay attention to how much is used on Long. We got the Vial. The Vex ult, again, kind of went wide, and then after this, right, like Bruce still not really committing, playing off from the side. Massive engage from Lava, flash forward from Enso. Again, okay, lots of cooldowns used, but pay attention to Bruce, still full health, no threat onto him whatsoever. And then even here, Columnia flashes forward, catches two, hold that thought, we're back into
back
line.
in. We're getting an engage on in the Wolf Pit, but it looks like instead it's just going to be Fear going down.
It is, and I think Bruce having an absolutely massive game. Both him and Lol are really putting this game on their backs right now. And we'll have to see how much can they get done with this Baron. I think they've already put themselves in a very commanding position. Should be able to pick up the next dragon as well, but perhaps want to get even more.
Yeah, 9-1 and 6. Varus here is very, very hard to fight against at this stage of the game. What do you really do against this Varus at this stage? I mean, you do have great sort of chain CC in the Vi, in the Rakan, and the Vex. Do you think they're able to sort of burst him down through the stopwatch and also the shield bow?
I think they have enough CC that they could chain it and probably kill him, especially if Rakan's the one to start it. I think the biggest issue, though, is just actually, like, even if you kill him, I think you might lose the fight, right? Like, there's just so much more damage from other areas, right? Like, Lava's very strong. Minji now has the 2 items, and Long, you know, very threatening in his own right. So while it feels like, yes, you probably could commit everything to Bruce and kill him, I'm not sure it'd actually get you the win at this point, down just this significantly in gold.
Yeah, you might be right there. And we do see the Bloodthirster now picked up by Minji, and it looks like we're going to see YJY do the same, except 1 second item and 1 will be 4th. So quite a good lead there in terms, obviously Minji being the mid laner, but YJY is extremely strong in his own right. Actually has about the same amount of items as the 9-1 Varus.
Yeah, YJY has definitely been doing a good job of keeping himself fed, as a lot of CS. Now has that BT completed, and the gold difference, I mean, it's definitely starting to go the way of J-Team, right? It's definitely starting to build up further and further.
Yeah, and we still don't even have the boots yet on YJY, so you do feel like you're a little bit more vulnerable without those. However, the magical footwear does give you a little bit of an enhancement of boot speed other than just the regular boots, so maybe just relying on that for now. As well as your W does give you a bit of speed too.
Yeah, I think we've seen more and more ADCs trying to just sit on the magical footwear for longer, just knowing that the other items just tend to be a little more valuable, at least at the moment. But perhaps we'll look for them soon. Now, a lot of members around mid. Bruce has to be the target, and he should know that as well. Does not have the flash yet, but has Ghost. Has GA completed, actually, so that's a big win condition shut down here for S9.
Yeah, and it's going to be incredibly hard to get to this, to kill this Varus now, right? Maybe you can pop the GA. And if you do pop the GA and you're all fairly high health bars, he probably is going to die, but it's going to be a massive job to try and get to that point. And as well as there's just so much other damage threats, like this Dark Harvest Gragas we see. And Long, obviously, you have 3 items, Black Cleaver now completed. There's just so much threats, and I don't know that, you know, S9 have the comp to deal with all of them at the same time.
I think if they weren't so behind, they probably do, right? They have like a lot of AoE. But I feel like Columnia, you know, despite getting the lead, Vex ults haven't really been connecting on the people they need to. Has kind of struggled to actually have a lot of impact in these fights. And now finds himself down 2 levels to Minji just by being pushed out of the jungle, being unable to side lane. Relia, he's being looked at. There are members around. Can they actually collapse on him? Feels like he's not going to go for the wave.
Yeah, smart decision to just back off there and not overcommit, because overcommitting there, I mean, you will be up before Baron with teleport, but you're definitely going to lose something in the side lane to the Jax. Baron's going to be in complete control of JT, so good decision to back out.
J-Team, they're continuing to push up the vision. Baron's in only 40 more seconds here, and they certainly have the DPS to melt it down extremely quickly. Lava, he's in this bush.
Yeah, he's just camping this bush. It's very hard to go through, right? It does land the barrel onto Fia, but not much damage there. Obviously being soaked up by that jungle item.
Fia looks like he's putting the Abyssal second item, but is honestly still really squishy. Just because he's pretty much all health at this point. Doesn't quite have the resistances he needs to. And especially with the Varus, right? The on-air Varus will shred him in no time if he actually gets to deal the damage. Now Baron, 5 seconds. J-Team, they have the vision. They're looking towards it already. Do they have enough control to keep Fia out of the pit? I'm not sure they do just yet, but they're starting it up.
Starting it up, and we saw last time that they were able to do it very quickly, and at the end there, where it looked like maybe Fia can get in there, attempt to steal, he did get stun locked, so we'll see if the same thing happens this time. They are looking around, but I don't know if they realize how low the Baron is, and Baron just goes over for free.
It does. I think S9 perhaps a little bit of hesitation. Didn't manage to get anything there, and okay, From the side of J team, full recalls here. Ooh, trying to find something off the back, but yeah, full recalls, spend all your gold. They're going to be back and ready to pressure as hard as they can. I have to feel like inhibs will probably drop here. The side of J team is looking so strong. Do they actually need this dragon? Probably not. They'll most likely pick it up just to deny it to S9. But I think they can do enough with this Baron that they could potentially end the game.
Yeah, I do feel the same, although Xayah is not a bad champ at clearing these Baron minion waves, so maybe it's a little bit harder than that. Might have to try and look to do it through the side lane, through the Jax, who at this stage also isn't really going to be worried about the Fiora matching. Fiora's still quite a wee way behind.
Mid lane, I think it's really important here, like you said, that they sync the waves in order to stop Xayah from just wave clearing one at a time. Xayah actually has 320 CS, obviously very, very strong here, even has the stopwatch as well. So J-Team, despite having a very good engage comp, I feel like can't actually dive. You know, YJ1, the Xayah, has all the tools he needs to actually disengage.
We are looking for an engage onto Minji. The knockup does hit, but he did buffer the jump there, and nothing will become of it, just an ultimate loss there by Fear.
That's a pretty big win, I'd say, for J-Team. They remove a pretty key engage tool here. Now, the waves aren't synced correctly, and it looks like, okay, maybe see some engage.
Yeah, massive explosive cast. That was a huge one, and Bruce picks up another kill. I believe that could be 10 at this point. Long going in, lands the stun. YJY just doesn't even get the chance to flash or feather storm. Columbia gone invulnerable, but will be flashed on again by Long. Rally has gone in, and I believe this game's just like, look at Bruce's attack speed.
He is actually space gliding on them. And YJ, why? I mean, he just disappeared, right? I think he went from half HP to 0 inside a CC chain, even had the flash, but ultimately it was not enough. And it is J-Team now who will be taking the Nexus and taking the win over S9W. And you have to say it's a much needed one, right? It really does keep their playoff hopes and dreams alive. So big win there for J-Team. Again, S9, they're not the best team in the world by any means. But I like the format of them, right? I think J-Team did look pretty good doing that. Also, Long finding the solo kill in top lane, I think means a lot for him. He's kind of had, I want to say, mixed performances, but I feel like he had a pretty good one that game.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I want to say for S9, I think this game more than any showed that YJY really can be a carry threat, right? Like, he really was doing a lot in these team fights to sort of, even while there was that massive threat of Long, he was still getting a lot of damage done and really tried his best, but